All right, hey, good morning, everybody. So as Lisa said, my name is Dave Lundal, and I'm the Chief Information Officer at Children's Minnesota. We are the premier children's healthcare specialists in the state of Minnesota, primarily in the Twin Cities. And this year, we're celebrating our 100th year. So it's a special year for us, but I'm very happy to be here to talk about AdaptX. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Here to talk about AdaptX. So first, let's talk about the our IT team and our analytics structure. So we have been what I would call traditionally, so what I've been used to, where we have like a director over our data services team, and we've got the data warehouse team and the data engineer and the analysts, and we do the report writing and we integrate the data and we do all of those things. What we have done in the last year and a half is we have switched to a delivery team model where and this is really nice in terms of at least my customer satisfaction with things, where we have a sponsor, we have a product owner, we have a data engineer, and we have analysts, right? And they're working in an agile approach, doing 2-week sprints. And what's really nice about that is we get to product really quickly. The really nice thing about that is it has baked in governance to it. And we have, in that traditional approach, we have the issue where we have a long queue of data requests, right, from all over the place. And how do we decide what we do? And we've mostly been in a first in, first out model. This approach completely changes that, because working with the sponsor and then directly with the business, they decide what's important, and the delivery team is able to provide that. And it works really, really well. And we don't have a big team. As you can see by the numbers here, it's not a big team at all with this. So we have launched several different product teams or solution delivery teams. And we still have some of the traditional queue that we're doing, but we're trying to expand all that while keeping staff. There have been no staff additions at all to us in the last couple of years. So why AdaptX? So as I alluded to previously, in the traditional approach, I am a choke point for the business, right? I can only provide so many reports on an annual basis. And also too, when I think about that queue, when I meet with the data team and they've got their list of 75 or 100 data requests, I have one of my assumptions is a lot of those are bad requests, right? Like, how do I know that that request is really aligned to what's important to the business? And oftentimes it's not, or oftentimes they're asking for something that's really close to what we already maybe have produced, and so I'm reproducing something that is not adding a lot of incremental business value. So that bottleneck is a really big thing. And so I've always been searching for a way to democratize the data, or free the data, if you will, and get that in the hands of the end users. And that's what AdaptX has been able to give us at our organization. And as well, if any of you are here from provider organizations, you know it's a very challenging environment, right? It's a very challenging environment. We've adopted overall a continuous improvement model. It's really based on lean as a way to, attack the business and get more efficient and improve quality. And to support doing continuous improvement, you need data to do that, right? You can't improve what you can't measure. So democratizing, freeing the data, putting it in the hands of end users, and supporting the continuous improvement model, that's really what the goal is. We started in Periop, and Periop is a high cost, high revenue portion of the business. It's also highly variable. If you can imagine getting surgeons to adopt one way to do things, I'm glad I'm not the leader of Periop, right? I don't want anything to do with that. Don't ever try to move me in administration. But when you free the data up and you give that to them, and they can align themselves around goals for the business, and they drive it, then you have a chance of really doing things. So, and promoting standard work and reducing variability, and the variability is intense. So this self-service, by this, so there's the clinical leader, which is we have the sponsor and the product owners, and we've really been leading with the chief of surgery and the primary director over Periop and that team. We have trained over 60 end users on this product, and they're actively using this. Right? It was actually kind of a worry of mine. All right, we're gonna buy this product. We're gonna install this new product. Will anybody use it? Right? And there's that phrase, if you build it, will they come type thing, and that's like you never want to do. If you build it, they will come type scenario. But they're actively using it, and they're really fired up. In fact, my only problem now is they want to keep expanding really fast, and I have to find the funds to do that. But it's created such energy in the clinicians, the surgeons around improving their business, and that's been a big benefit. So the self-service is super easy to use, right? That's also can be a concern. Will self-service actually be something that they can drive? Can they drive that? And the training is easy. And I think, by the time we signed the contract and we're live, it was maybe less than a month or something like that. And then the system was ready to go. And then short training program for the clinicians, and they're off to the races and they're using this data, right? So the AdaptX system also, so thinking about that self-service, this AI that it comes included with AdaptX, that provides them with really something that we probably would have done in a people time place, but it's built into the system, and that gives the structure. It gives the insights, so it allows the clinicians to distinguish between what is signal and what is noise, and really drive down to what the data really means. And it's just built in, and it comes with it. And what's produced out of it then are meaningful charts that they can discuss, and they can then decide. Because to me, the data's fine, but if you're not making decisions with it, it's really money that's not being well spent, right? So it allows them to make decisions with it. I can't explain the AI that's in it. I don't know if any of you, I'm still trying to figure out AI, but it's there and it works really, really well. So here's an example. So there's a couple different things. So when I press, and Billy, we press the team, right? Like, hey, if we're going to invest in this, you have to be using it. You have to be making decisions. And the two focus areas they have is efficiency and quality. And one of the efficiency areas that you can really attack is case turnover time, right? Because if there's wasted time and turnovers, if you can fix that, you can do more surgeries, right? Without adding operating suites, without adding personnel, without making any additions, our throughput can actually improve. And so it's a way to increase revenue without adding any cost. And the average case turnover, and you can see the team was able to this chart. They were able to spot opportunities, and they've increased that. And I think the latest data on this is over $500,000 a year. They've already contributed to the bottom line by finding the best practice, and then driving towards that best practice and standardizing practice with that. So that's one of the ways they've used that. And there's another example of doing this, and you can see this one's case turnover time by surgical service, right? Which there's also variability there. It would have been nice if Dr. Lander here, who is a chief of surgery, is here talking with me. He would just go on and on about this stuff. But they've done a really good job, and the variability. So what was kind of it wasn't shocking, but really enlightening is how much variability there was by physician, by surgical service. So this is just another way to slice the data, and it helps. And then they can make decisions in their continuous improvement about how do we attack this. Maybe let's take it by different surgery types and do it that way. So that's been very good. I'm going to skip by this one. And one of these quality is the other one that we really are going after. So this will allow the surgery area to monitor quality and to improve quality. And you can see these charts that I've been showing on the screen. They're not something that the end users have to produce. They're naturally built in, and the system builds them for them. And then they just flow that right into their value stream for this, and they make improvements in the OR, right? And so it's been really, really good. So for the on the IT side, again, this is one of those things that it was super painless for me, right? Sign the contract, a month later, it's live, right? And so sometimes when we do something like this, that takes longer. than I anticipated. It takes my team, you know, when they actually, the IT team gets into doing the data integration, they have all kinds of issues and complaints about that. Sometimes I have to be involved and have a meeting with the vendor and say, hey, this isn't going well. We need to make some improvements. This one literally was I signed the contract and a little bit later it was live. It was super painless. The IT team's always worried about it, right? Like, no, this is, they say that, but that's not going to be the case, right? And they don't want to do it, et cetera. This one was super painless. And I think AWS, I think AdaptX is on AWS, and it all works really, really well. And so the data is in well, actually our data is, most of this data is in Kansas City with Cerner. And it seamlessly flows into AWS, and it's worked really, really well. So that's what I wanted to talk about, and we can take questions on that. I much prefer question and answer than actually speaking a slide, so I'd love to answer any questions anyone has.